welcome back to my creative space. It's lovely to have you here. Another bright summer morning, lots of rain. We've been having lots of rain, so everywhere's lush and green and all the wildflowers are coming up outside. It's absolutely beautiful. My garden's looking fantastic. It thrives on neglect, I have to say. I do very little to it except cut a few things back. I go out with my scythe these days, or I've got a lovely pair of I suppose you call them hedge trimmers, but I just go around and go chop, 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 and it's amazing. If you look at it as a general sort of canvas and you don't get too close into the details, it looks amazing because I've got all sorts of wildflowers growing up with some of the things that I've already planted, and I love it because I don't have to do anything. I can just go out and lie on my sun lounger when the weather's nice enough, and you know, if I shut my eyes, and actually if I take my glasses off, because I'm actually short-sighted, if I take my glasses off I can't see all the things that need doing. And if you leave it, nature just fills up all the gaps with lots of lush growth. And you know, come the autumn it'll look messy and scruffy, but right now it's looking gorgeous. And the bird song we have here is amazing. You can go to other places, other people's gardens where it's kind of tidy. They don't have the bird song that we have here because we've got big hedges and we've got mess and we've got, you know, neglect going on, so that everything's a little bit untidy, very untidy in fact. I don't know which is more untidy, the house or the garden. I think the garden wins. And because we've got a bit of land, and my husband's been doing a lot of work over the last few years on kind of rewilding it and growing, making sure we grow, that we we graze the donkeys that we have. We've got 3 donkeys. He now grazes them in such a way that we have areas where there's just lovely wildflowers. So he puts them in for a period of time onto an area and then takes them off, and then the wildflowers can come back up. And the difference where we've got sheep on the land, where they just kind of graze it all down and graze it all down. It's really interesting. So anyway, that's just an aside. I'm not quite sure what I was going to talk to you about today, except, well, I know I had my mum-in-law staying over the last few days, and it's been absolutely lovely. We haven't seen her for absolutely yonks up here because of everything that's been going on, and we planned for her to come in the autumn. It didn't quite happen, and we've had such a nice time together. We've just chilled out. She's done lots of weeding for us in the garden, which has been great, in the veggie patch. But we've been places as well. We've been to visit places and we've had lunch out. It's been an absolute treat. And the nice thing is now she's gone home, and it's very odd, isn't it, when you've had a guest or guests, suddenly there's this sort of space in the house, isn't there? It's just a different feeling. So I feel quite sort of energised by the fact that she's been. We've done some different things, and I'm just looking around the house again and thinking, well, what do I want to do next? How can I, you know, clear up, tidy up, sort out. I feel like pulling cupboards out. I keep telling you, I'm just on a roll. And I actually looked in the cupboard we had a mouse in it over the winter. We discovered recently. I didn't really realise we'd had a mouse in it. The door had obviously been open and the little mouse had gone in and helped itself to a few things. And I've been putting off actually clearing it out because it's got all our plastic boxes and food things in, and I just thought, oh, I don't really want to do this. But I felt quite energised, as I say, because we've been doing different things and had a change of just atmosphere going on. And so I actually started pulling that out last night. I haven't done it all because there's quite a lot to do in the cupboard, but I made a start, and I think that was the important thing, was I pulled stuff out from where it was, started washing things up, and do you know what? It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I know there's more to do, but because I made a start, it's suddenly so much easier to do, isn't it? When you just have a go, when you just go, right, I'm going in, I'm going to tackle this thing, and you pull everything out from where it's been sitting, and then you look at it and you go, oh well, actually I don't need this anymore, or that could go in the bin, or that needs washing, and it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I'm quite pleased with myself. We've had, as I say, we've had a lovely time. So now we're back in my creative space, and I really want to get this piece finished. I feel as though it's been an exciting piece to do, and I've loved your comments. It's been really interesting to see how many people were up for having the change, because I thought, you know, people might be a bit more conservative and think, oh no, that's a lovely piece of art, you can't change it. But no, we went, yes, let's do it. How different is that? So we'll get it finished today, and we'll see what's going to be next after that. And again, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you enjoy the video, because that helps other people find my little channel and join us here for a bit of fun and relaxation. So let's get on and see where we're going to go today. Okay, so that's it all stitched down, and I think the mountains are looking much better than they did before. They're much more texture to them because they've got a few layers under them now. There's a little bit of padding there. I've kept the edges neat-ish. I'm not aiming for a very neat effect. The sky or the mountain up there, well, it could be either of those things. But I just love the colours. I think it's got a nice sort of autumn, high summery sort of feel to it. And I feel as though this bit and this bit now are much more coherent together. Although, obviously, this is very fluffy and that's still quite flat. I think it works better than it did. And I think it's just hilarious that I've taken a piece that I really didn't like and turned it into this. So the next stage is to look at making some little sort of seedy head things going on here. I'm not sure how they're going to work, but I'm just messing about with ideas and some fabrics, and I'm thinking, well, we could layer things up. I really love this lacy stuff. It's really cool. It's got a really nice texture to it, and I think if I bring that sort of texture up into this area, that might help. So isn't it nice when you find just the right thing to use? This is some beautiful space dyed yarn that a friend of mine had, my dear friend Jane, who sadly passed away many years ago. She was a quilter, and she was very creative, and when she passed away her husband gave us all her stuff that she had, you know, all her creative bits and bobs, and this has still got the piece of thread on that she's used to dip dye these into some kind of a dye bath. So I'm just gonna, oh, I feel as though I can't even cut that. I feel as though I should really undo the knot. There we go. I've undone the knot. That's a knot that Jane did. Isn't that fantastic? You know, I just love that I'm touching the things that she made. She was such a creative person, and this is lovely to use her yarn. So I've just got to kind of unravel it a bit. You can see it's got different colours. You see it's been space dyed, dip dyed, and I just love this, some gorgeous colours here. And I feel as though what I think I might just do is just make them a mixed colour, so that when I do my stitching on top we're getting a really nice mixed colour to it. So I've managed to unravel them and sort them out, and now I'm going to make some pieces with them. So I don't think I need that much, but I'm just going to see, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just let it come as it is. Let me just allow, I'm going to make it big enough that I'm going to do probably, I wonder whether I need 2 or possibly 3. Sometimes you need 3 strands to make it strong enough. And I think what we might do is just let it come in its own fashion, so that I'm not controlling what colours go with what. I really like that as an idea. This fits in very well with my loose and wild making. So I'm just debating, as I say, whether I do 2 strands. That might be a bit thin. 2 strands will probably make something like that, and 3 strands is more likely to make something a bit thicker like that. So I have to just make a choice. I just love that little bit. I want to use that somewhere special. Right, so here we go. I've got 3 strands, and we're just going to snip that there. And what I really love is how they are all just mix and match, and I think that's great because then I'm not trying to control it. I think they're about the right sort of shade, and by the time I get stitching on top, well, who knows what they'll look like. So here's my lovely threads, and I'm just picking out what I think might work for this particular piece. I might do 2 different colours, we'll see. Whether I want something a bit lighter perhaps. Isn't this lovely? It's like, I always think it's like choosing sweeties. Choosing sweeties. What would you choose? So when I'm choosing threads, I try and do it by kind of looking at them, but also, oops, there's a random one there, also what feels right. And you know yourself when something just feels right and you just go, oh yes, yes, yes. So I've got to take into account there's this lovely yellow here. I don't want to diminish this yellow. So I think probably that gold isn't the one. It needs to be something of a sufficient contrast, but that's going to sort of tone in with everything else a bit. So I'm just thinking I might start with this one and see where we get to. I might even use a shiny thread, because this one has got a shiny copper thread on, which is quite nice. So this is a slow and gentle process. I've got 3 strands going into one, and I've chosen a really wide zigzag which gets across all 3 strands and pulls them together closely. I've got a different colour thread in the bottom to on the top, so I automatically get 2 different colours already, and then I'll go over it again, possibly with some different shades of thread, and you can start to mix and match. It's a slow process. We've got this beautiful cord now, and it's all the threads have mixed and mingled, all the stitching, so it doesn't look uniform. That was my intention. It doesn't show entirely what was put into the cord, but I don't mind. It's evolved as it's been stitched, and I know that it's all different colours underneath. So I'm just going to cut this little end off here. That's it. Got all these beautiful threads here that you can see. The other end's the same. Look at this one. Here's the other end. Look. That's just lovely. I just love the way that's just created this beautiful frizzy end. So I'll cut that one off as well. I need to trim down the threads. Messing about with making a little seed head type thing here. And I was thinking, well, if I make it open at the bottom, I've got different layers here. It's not brilliant, this, so I'm just going to work up how it's going to work. And I thought, well, I could slot that inside there. It's got different layers going on, and that might be a seed head. Possibly I might need to trim it down a bit, but what I've tried to do is, it's got wadding, but it's also got some of this, and it's also got some of this gorgeous kind of lacy stuff. Now, whether I'm making them all the same, I don't know. Whether I'm making them like this, I don't yet know, but I'm playing and seeing. I've got some of my silk here, 50p silk. It's really nice and textured. I've got this funny woven fabric as well, which I rather like because it's got this kind of slub to it. It's got this sort of mixed thing going on here. So I'm just wondering whether what I can do is, that's very straightforward and sort of samey, but if I take, say, a piece of this and add it on top, I like the idea of making them kind of mix and match, so they're not all like one fabric or one colour, so that they've got a bit of, oh yes, you see that just changes it up a bit, doesn't it, if you add bits of different things on, so they don't look all the same. They don't want to be looking uniform. That's the idea. So I could be using various, so I like the lights and the darks, and it's a question of how I, as I say, get this wadding underneath them so that they can be, so the wadding isn't seen. Let's put a little stalk up there. Let's pretend we've stitched that one down and put a little stalk up for it. This is what I love doing. I love faffing about with things like this and working out how it can come together. So I've got a bit more faffing about to do, and I will show you, as usual, I'll show you when I've got a bit further down the track with it. Because at the moment, the jury's out, but I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. I hope you are too. So these are my little stalks all ready to go. It's very satisfying to have those ready. And what I'm thinking for these little bits, so what I'm going to use, this is a piece of tearaway stabilizer. I'm going to pop down here, and I'm actually just going to take these ones that I've started already because I quite like them and I like the idea of them, and I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of my wadding, cotton curtain interlining wadding that I love, and I've cut it so it's smaller than the top bit, and I'm just going to use these because I think they're rather nice. I like them. They were quite spontaneous. They've got a mixture of fabrics going on, and I might add some more I've got to do a bit of cutting of this to fit it into the right size, and I'm going to make some big ones, and I'm going to make some small ones, and it's just, oh, I can't tell you how nice this is to do. There's absolutely nothing riding on it. I'm simply playing with this piece and having some fun. It's just lovely. There we go, pop that under there. My idea is I'm going to stitch them in such a fashion, if I show you with this, because it's rather shiny, but it's got the principle of what I want to do, which is I'm going to try and stitch it so that I've got a little bit of a gap at the bottom here somehow. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. My idea is I'll put the stalk in there, and then they can be stitched as an actual unit that I can then apply onto the piece, and then I can stitch them exactly how I want them to go, and they can be bendy or standy up or whatever. So, oh look, there you go. It's not stitched, but it's holding its own, so that can just go, you know, on there as a piece. So let's get on and finish these off, pull them together, cut some more wadding, get them stitched. And because I've got it on this tearaway stabilizer, it'll be so much easier to stitch. This is the beautiful thing. If you've got a lot of fiddly little bits to stitch like this, if you put them on a single piece of something like this, you know, that makes everything so much easier. I was going to start again with a piece of fabric, and I just thought, no, I'm just going to use what I've already got, spontaneously created. So I'll get these stitched next. It's just, I just rather like them. So we'll see how that goes.